I have long made the allegation, and I stand by it, that the craft that we see in our skies that have been attributed to visitations from other planets aren't coming from other planets. They are coming from the deep oceans and from Antarctica. I believe this image, taken over MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, proves this. Now, initially looking at this, you would say, how could you make that allegation? Well, there's a location in Antarctica that shows these two craft very near to the coast of Antarctica on the ice. Now, that you could take a picture like this over Florida, where you have a triangular craft and you have a rectangular craft in proximity to each other, and then you could also take an image of the same two craft in proximity to each other all the way down in Antarctica, I think would be nearly impossible to fake or mistake. Now, one of the things that kind of catches people a little bit when they describe craft like this is the size. Looking up in the sky with nothing to have reference around, it would be almost impossible to make any kind of an accurate judgment. And that's just the fault of the human eye. It really doesn't matter, like in this image, how much you would zoom it in. You could, unless something would appear around that you knew the size of, there would be no way to judge. You can look at this image and go, wow, that's huge. Because of the zoom level and all that kind of stuff, you can make assumption, but you really can't judge. You know, artists have tried to make renderings of this, and the reason I chose this image is because, unlike most images, this shows what someone might think the top of a TR-3B might look like. And that doesn't usually come to people right away. They don't ask themselves, I wonder what it looks like from above. We always just see the images from below, don't we? Just making the assumption. And this is the illusion. I just wanted to show this real quick before we go down there, that both of those circles are the exact same size. It's just perspective and the trick of the eye that makes you think that the one here between the train tracks is smaller. It's just an illusion that's been shown over and over and over again. Now, this is the image that I'm talking about. This is, and the reason I'm showing it is because it's one of those odd times when Google Earth, the web-based version, for some strange reason, has a clearer picture of this craft than Google Earth Pro does. But Google Earth Pro shows us something very, very cool using historical imagery, and I'd like to share that with you. Alright, where we're going to be, Google Earth Pro, of course, is here on the left. We're going to be down here right around the 6 or 7 o'clock region. And let me see if I can get there real quick. Oops, wrong one. Okay. There we go. Now, I want to show these side by side. Now, this is the best image that Google Earth Pro shows. And as you can see, it's nowhere near as good an image as here on the right. Let me see if I can get these windows the proper size here. There we go. You see how this one is just darker? And you can make out the imagery so much better. I've never seen anything like this with any other image where the web-based imaged it better. Now, here's the kicker. Remember our image here where we showed the triangle next to the square? The strange thing about this particular image in Google Earth Pro is that we can confirm it's a craft and not an island and not a break in the ice and not just some visual anomaly because of when it appears and when it disappears. This is an image from 12 of 2000. This same image in lower res goes all the way back to 1989. You I know, it's like, wait a minute. How could they possibly have had, I know. I asked myself the same question. But we'll go back in time here. You see how this is 99. Now, this image isn't from 99, but it shows an image that was taken in 92, and they didn't re-image again until 2000. So when you look at this from 92 to 99, you see the exact same image. So 99, 98, 97, 96, all the way back to 92. Now, 91, something very strange happens. Now, it's still there, but as you can see, there's this giant block of ice over it. But in 90, you can see it better. Now, these are distinct images. 90, 91, and 92 are the same images. And in 89, it disappears. So this shows up in 90. Now, I don't want to speculate about why this shows up in 90. There were a lot of things going on in the world in 90, and I'll just leave that to your imagination. But when we go forward in time, and we're going to go back here we're now back to 2000. It disappears in 2001. It's gone. 2002, it's gone. 2003, it's gone. It's just not there. Now, that by itself is curious enough. I can't do this with the Google Earth web-based version because there's no such thing as historical imagery there. But let me show you something else. Remember I mentioned the rectangle? Well, over here is this strange black rectangle. And it seems like it's on the ocean floor, just under the ice, very near to this craft. Now, here's 2000, 2001. They both disappear simultaneously. 2000, 2001. Why would they both, if they had nothing to do with each other, disappear simultaneously? I'll do this in close-up so that you can see this. It's just gone. And I have no real good explanation for this other than this craft, these two craft, I guess I should say, are somehow linked, somehow tied. They somehow operate together. And that we can show this and show those two shapes over MacDill Air Force Base in 2017, I think personally for me, is smoking gun. How could this possibly be not related? Now, here's the part that's a little bit more difficult to stomach on this. If you had anti-grav tech, if you had the ability to manipulate gravity, manipulate the atmosphere around you, whether it was water, whether it was air, and move in the way that Navy craft have observed these types of craft moving, size would be no limitation. And people looking up in the sky do really not have, and I include myself in this, the ability to make an honest judgment about what the size of something might be at altitude, especially if you don't know how far away it is. Now, I want to get these side by side and measure them, and let's see if I can do this properly. so that you can see I'm talking about the same two craft. This craft is enormous. It's 4,000 feet long, whatever it is. It even has a conning tower of some kind. And to my mind, this would be necessary for a craft. If you were in Antarctica, you were an advanced civilization, and you wanted to move about the planet, you would need to be able to move through the air, move below the waves, and move on the surface of the waves at the same time. Have a craft be able to do all of those things and do it all well. Now, let's just go ahead and measure real quick. And let's see if I can do this right. Okay. All right. All right. Like I said, these are enormous craft. 3,808 feet, roughly, for this one. And you get about the same measurement over here. (1,182 meters). Now, I'm sure somebody's out there like, no, that can't possibly be. There's no way they're that big. Why would it be a problem for them to be that big? It necessarily wouldn't be. And at least in navigating the oceans on the surface, if I remember my mariner friends telling me this correctly, longer ships are more efficient and can move faster than shorter vessels. The longer, more streamlined vessels on the surface have a better ability to gain speed than a smaller vessel. Now, there is some long explanation for why that is, but it is just the case that if you want to, in fact, the yacht races, those yachts are incredibly long and skinny, and they have all sorts of different things that make them faster than the average one. But I don't think this would be out of the realm of believability, given what we've seen, how advanced these people could be. A craft of this size, if you had the ability to manipulate gravity, or if gravity was not a concern, why wouldn't you build the biggest one that you could build, pardon me. So, anyway, you can look up the picture from MacDill. I'll go ahead, like I said, I'll throw it in a folder. I will give you this link to this location. You can find it Google Earth Web. You can find it Google Earth Pro. It's not hard. Google Earth Pro has all of the historical imagery. In fact, I'll give you both locations in the Pro for the little rectangular craft next to it. And you can look at this for yourself and see that what I'm telling you is the truth. Now, you can make up your mind as to what you think this might be, but there's really not very many other explanations for something of this shape just disappearing in the imagery and not reappearing in any way, shape, or form in later on years. It's not an island. It's not just a break in the ice. This was a craft, and they've known about it since '89. And I guess I'll just leave it there. Like, share, subscribe.